Hello everybody, today back in another video. Oh boy, we had 128 players in the draw when this Australian Open started 2 weeks ago. Now we have only 2 left men standing. And who are those 2 left men standing? It is my number 1 pick, Jannik Sinner, versus my number 2 pick, Alexander Zverev. It is the world number 1, Jannik Sinner, versus the world number 2, Alexander Zverev. It is the defending champion, Jannik Sinner, against the Alexander Zverev, who is playing his first ever Australian Open final and who is playing his 3rd ever Grand Slam final, because we know that he has played the US Open final. He has played in 2020, which he lost against Dominic Thiem in 5 sets. Then he played the French Open final 2024, which he lost against Carlos Alcaraz in 5 sets. And now Zverev is playing his 3rd ever Grand Slam final. Jannik Sinner, who is also playing his 3rd ever Grand Slam final. The first one he played actually last year in this current time, exactly 12 months ago, which was the Australian Open 2024, which he won in 5 sets against Daniil Medvedev. And then he played his 2nd Grand Slam final in US Open 4 or 5 months ago and won that one against Taylor Fritz in straight sets. So Jannik Sinner is also playing his 3rd ever Grand Slam final, exactly like Alexander Zverev, and Jannik Sinner is playing his 2nd Australian Open final consecutive. So he's trying to defend his title from last year. Last year he played an epic Australian Open final against Daniil Medvedev, where he was 2 sets to love down, but did an unbelievable great comeback and won in the end that Australian Open final 2024 in 5 sets. He actually should maybe have faced Zverev, because Zverev was, if I'm not mistaken, 2 points away in winning that semi-final against Medvedev in that 4 sets, in that 4-set tiebreak, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, Sinner avoided Zverev in last year's Australian Open final. Sinner avoided Zverev, because he didn't avoid Medvedev, obviously. Sinner avoided Zverev in last year's Australian Open final. Sinner is not avoiding Zverev in this year's Australian Open final. And this was, to be quite honest, my pre-prediction when I did my top 8 favorite list 2 weeks ago, that these two will face each other in the final. All right, let's go to this. Let's talk a little about Sinner, who, about his semi-final match, which was an obvious one. I can't believe that some thought, he need to win the match first. Let's see if he can win it. It's tennis. The only way Sinner would have lost that match against Ben Shelton was due to injury. If he was not injured, he would have won that match in straight sets, which I actually predicted, and he won it in straight sets. Even though that first set was close, where Ben Shelton had 1 set point. But after that first set, which Sinner won in tiebreak, he gave Ben Shelton a beatdown in second set 6-2, and then gave him a beatdown in 3rd set as well, when he won the 3rd set also 6-2. How did Sinner look against Ben Shelton? He looked pretty good. 8 aces, 0 double faults. He lands 57% first serve sin, which is not crazy high landing first serve sin, but Sinner doesn't usually land a lot of first serve sin. I will talk about that later. He won 75% in his first serve, won 63% in his second serve, which is really, really good. Winning points, winning over 60% when it beyond your second serve is really, really good. Broke Ben Shelton's serve 6 times out of 13 breakpoint opportunities that he had. And did all in all 23 winners and 26 unforced errors. He does actually 3 more unforced errors than winners in the match. Ben Shelton does 7 aces, 6 double faults, lands 59% first serve sin, which was too low to have a chance against Sinner. He needs to land much higher first serve sin, because he cannot take Sinner from the baseline. He's without a chance from the baseline, so he desperately needed to land much more first serve sin to have a chance against Sinner, because from the baseline he is outplayed, which of course he was, especially in the 2nd and 3rd set. So he lands 2 little first serve sin, Ben Shelton, which was 59%. He won 63% when his first serve, which is not that high, to be quite honest. and he won 46% behind his second serve. You can see the biggest difference in winning points beyond second serve, which was Sinner was winning 63% when his second serve. Ben Shelton was winning only 46% when his second serve. So there you have the biggest difference in the match. And all in all, Ben Shelton did 27 winners and 55 unforced errors. So Ben Shelton does 28 more unforced errors than winners. Ben Shelton, he was outplayed, especially on the second and third set. Enough about that match, all right? Let's go to this final preview. The head-to-head is 4-2 in Zverev's favor. They faced each other 3 times in majors. It's 2-1 in Zverev's favor. First time they ever faced each other was actually at French Open 2020 in the 4th round, where Sinner won in 4 sets. I remember that match. Zverev, after the match, was complaining that he was sick. Anyway, he lost in 4 sets. And then the other 2 times that they faced each other in the slams was back in 2021 at the US Open, 4th round as well, which a match that Zverev won in straight sets. And then the 3rd time that they faced each other in a major was back in 2023, also in the 4th round, also at the US Open, a match that Zverev won in 5 epic sets. And last time they faced each other was last year in Cincinnati semi-final, a match that Sinner won in 3 tight sets and won that 3rd set in a tiebreak. Those 2 sets that Sinner won against Zverev in that Cincinnati semi-final was actually in tiebreaks. So Zverev matches up really, really well with Sinner. All right, so this is definitely Sinner's biggest, hardest opponent that he could have faced in the final, besides Alcaraz, according to me. Zverev is even harder for Sinner than what Djokovic is, according to me. But not harder than Alcaraz, because Alcaraz, we all know that he defeated Sinner 3 times last year. But Zverev, Sinner doesn't like facing Zverev, especially Zverev with this new Zverev, who is playing his tennis of his life, according to me, who has improved his serve tremendously, especially his second serve. He doesn't do a lot of double faults. He has improved his forehand. Yeah, that is the mostly those 2 things that he has improved. It is the second serve and it is the forehand. Because all the other parts of the game, it is still, maybe he has improved those as well, slightly, but not as much as he has improved the forehand and the second serve. So, what is the key for Zverev here to win the match? I will talk about Zverev first because he's the underdog here, all right? Zverev needs to land a lot of first serves in this match. That is not any secret. Like he has done the entire tournament, he has actually landed over 70% in all of his 6 matches here at Australian Open 2025. The only match that he didn't land over the 70% first serves in was the quarterfinal match against Tommy Paul, where he landed 69% of first serves. All the other 5 matches, he has landed over 70%. He needs to continue with that. He cannot go down. If he goes down, he will be in big trouble. That is Zverev's big key in the match. He needs to make that serve the dominant weapon on the court. That serve of his, which is huge, needs to be the dominant weapon on the court. It needs to show up, which it usually does, but now it needs to show up more than ever, especially against Jannik Sinner, who is the greatest, who is the best hardcourt player in the world the last 12 months. So that is the big first key from Zverev. And then Zverev needs to, the second key, Zverev needs to protect his second serve. According to me, his second serve, especially the damage behind his second serve, is not as good as the damage that Sinner does behind his second serve. Because if you look at Zverev's matches, he doesn't win particularly crazy amount of points behind his second serve. Yeah, he does. Of course, he wins over 55, sometimes over 60% behind his second serve. But when he faces quality opponents, like for instance against Hugo Humbert in the 4th round, He won only 48% when his second serve. Yeah, he won 84% when his first serve, which is huge, but still, 48%, it is low, all right? Then against Tommy Paul in the quarterfinal, he won 52% when his second serve, Zverev. Yeah, he won 75% when his first serve against Tommy Paul, which is really, really good. But still, this shows to me that when he faces quality opponents, his second serve points won drops down. And he needs, against Djokovic in the semifinal, he played only one set, so I don't take those numbers to account here in my analysis here. So against Sinner, he needs to protect his second serve. And how does he do that? How do you protect your second serve? It is not going for the lines and risking to do a double fault. It is be brave on the third shot, so-called the serve plus forehand, the serve plus backhand, the serve plus volley, call it what you want, baby. So when he lands that second serve, because he will not land over 80% first serve in, so he's forced to hit second serves as well. Not many second serves, because he's really good at hitting a lot of first serves in his tennis matches. He's the player who hits the most first serves the entire tour. He's the #1 leader there. But so when he is forced to use his second serve, he needs to do damage behind it and not be passive. All right? He needs to win that second serve battle against Sinner. He has won that against all the other 6 opponents that he has played against. But those 6 opponents were not called Jannik Sinner. Those 6 opponents, they don't have as good as returns like Sinner has. So that is the second key for Zverev. He needs to do damage behind his second serve. The third key for Zverev, he needs to hug the baseline. He cannot be too passive. Against Djokovic, he was not too passive, but he was not super aggressive either. He was somewhere in the middle, according to me. So it was okay. But now against Sinner, the level, the question that Sinner asks to Zverev are even bigger or even higher now. He cannot be passive, because if he's passive, he's making suicide. That is the third key for Zverev. The fourth key for Zverev is to try to make this match physical, because I don't think he will beat Sinner in straight sets. I really don't think so. Yeah, maybe he can do. Who knows? It is tennis. He can, because Zverev is that kind of player who can take the racket out of your hand if he has that. If he has a monster serving performance day, and then he can take the racket out of your hands. He can beat you 7-6, 7-6, 7-6. But I don't think he will do that. So he needs to make this match a physical battle. Because if this match goes to 5 sets, he really can defeat Sinner. Because Sinner, according to me, Zverev's stamina is better than Sinner's. If Sinner has some weaknesses in his game, which is not many, it is his physicality. It is his stamina. I have seen Sinner tired. I have never seen Zverev tired. That is the fourth key. Zverev needs to make this match physical and try to outlast Sinner. The fifth key, and maybe the most important one, Zverev needs to have great nerve management. We have seen him choke Grand Slam finals before, like that against Dominic Thiem 2020. If he has the chance here to serve out the sets, to serve out the match, to break serve, or you call it what you want, in the bigger points, in the pressure points, when the chips are down, he needs to capitalize. He needs to be clutch. There you have Zverev's 5 big keys. What are Sinner's big keys? This is Sinner's toughest match in the entire tournament, and it should be like that. It is, for God's sakes, a Grand Slam final. Sinner's walk of a cake draw is over now. Now he has the toughest opponent in the final. That is not called Alcaraz. If it had been Alcaraz, Alcaraz would have been tougher than Zverev. But now Alcaraz is not here. He crashed out the quarterfinal against Djokovic. Now Zverev is Sinner's biggest and hardest opponent. Sinner will not. He doesn't like facing Zverev. And the head-to-head is showing that, because Zverev is has that huge serve and he can take the racket out of your hand. So what does Sinner also need to do with his serve? He needs to serve big as well. Sinner doesn't serve as big as Zverev. Especially he doesn't land as high of first serve in like Zverev does. Who does? Nobody. The highest percentage of first serve in the entire tournament that Sinner has landed was against de Minaur, 64%. All the other 5 matches, it has been between 56 to 62, something like that. And the highest match that Zverev has landed first serves in his 6 matches has been in the second round against Martinez, where he landed 74% first serves. So 10% more than Sinner in landing most first serves in the entire tournament. Zverev has peaked at 74 in landing highest percent of first serves against Martinez in that second round. Sinner has peaked against de Minaur in that quarterfinal, 64%. So Sinner will not land over 70% first serve in. You rarely see Sinner do that, but he at least needs to be over 65%. At least over 62. Not under 60. He can win matches against Ben Shelton with 57% in landing first serve in. Because Ben Shelton is not close to Zverev's level. But if Sinner is under 60%, I don't know if that will do the job for him. So he at least needs to land over 60% first serves, because he doesn't need to land as many first serves as Zverev. No, and he will not do that. You know why? Because he has that firepower. He has that first strike tennis. He has that serve plus 1 game better than Zverev's, according to me. So it is not necessary for Sinner to land crazy amount of first serves in. If he can do that, yeah, it is only good for him. Then his life will be even easier in that final. But he will not be able to do that. We have not seen Sinner landing many times over 70% first serve in his career. And for sure, he has not done that in this tournament. The highest, like I said, was 64% against de Minaur. All right. By the way, Ben Shelton didn't win 63% in his first serve. Now, when I just thought about that, he won 57% being his first serve against Jannik Sinner in that semifinal, not 63%, 57%. So you see how low he won points being his first serve, Ben Shelton. I said that 63%, but that is wrong. That is not correct. That it is 59% that Ben Shelton won being his first serve against Jannik Sinner in that semifinal match. All right, so that we have figured out that now. So enough about that. So Jannik Sinner needs to land over 60% first serves against Zverev. He cannot be under 60%. He will not afford that. If he's under 60%, he will be punished. The second key for Sinner is he needs to do damage behind his serve, like he's done the entire tournament. So-called, he needs to try to win that 1 to 4 rally lengths. In tennis, the player who wins the 1 to 4 rally lengths usually wins the tennis matches. And I think it will be exactly the case in this final as well. So he needs to take charge, like he usually does. He's very good at that. He's not passive many times in his career, Jannik Sinner. He's not passive. He hugs the baseline. He's like I call him 2.0 Novak Djokovic. That is what Jannik Sinner is. So he needs to take charge when he lands that serve, because he will not get as many free points as Zverev, because Zverev has a bigger serve. All right, so he will not maybe get as many unreturned serves like Zverev will do. Maybe. You never know, because Sinner has such great returns. You never know. Sinner, according to me, has better returns than Zverev. So when Zverev makes those returns, because Zverev is one of the best returners in the world. Not as good as Sinner, but one of the best returners in the world. Top 5 for sure, according to me. Then Sinner needs to kill that third shot, which I think he will do. That is Sinner's second key. Third key for Sinner is not to make this match physical battle. Not try to finish off Zverev in 3 or 4 sets. That is the third key. Because I've seen Sinner in the past, when he has gone to the distance, he's not always the freshest player up there, especially against the physical and stamina and cardio beast like Zverev. Zverev, you can never almost outlast him. He's a physical animal out there. And Sinner, he should respect this. So he should finish off Zverev in 3 or 4 sets. If this match goes to 5, Sinner is in big trouble, I believe. So that is the third key for Sinner. Try to make this match, try to win this match in 3 or 4 sets. The fourth key for Sinner is try to win that second serve battle. Look at my tennis on the road. I don't know how much you guys know this, but the player who wins the second serve battle 90% of the times wins the tennis matches. So when Sinner will miss all first serves, he will miss first serves more than Zverev. I'm pretty convinced about that. When Sinner lands that second serve, he needs to try to be aggressive. He needs to try take charge. He needs to try to show great serve plus 1 game and put away those balls when he serves that second serve. That is the fourth key for Sinner. And I think he will do that. I think he will do that. So, consider all this. Who do I think will win the final? Look, according to me, Sinner is the player who wins more points when he second serve. All right? Like I told you in the beginning of the video, Zverev is not as good in winning points when second serve as Sinner is. Sinner, for instance, in the 4th round against Holger Rune, he won 59% of his second serves. All right? Against De Minaur, all right, De Minaur, he eats him for breakfast, but anyway, against De Minaur, he won 81% of the point when he second serve. And against Ben Shelton, like I demonstrated in the beginning of the video, he won 63% of his second serves. So Sinner does a better job in winning points when he second serve than Zverev. And this will be a big key of who will win the match on Sunday. And the reason, many of you, because you can see which player wins more points when second serve. You can see that. But maybe some of you wonder, why is that? What is the reason to that? Simple. The reason to that is because the player who wins more points behind second serve is the player who is better from a baseline, is the player who is more aggressive, is the player who wins more the short rally lengths. Because when do you see rallies more? Is it behind a big first serve or behind a second serve? Of course, it is behind the second serve, because you don't see as many rallies behind the big first serve as you do behind the second serve. Obviously, because the second serve is slower. And that is where Sinner excels here. And that is where Sinner is much better than Zverev. He wins much more points behind his second serve than what Zverev does. And that is what I believe, and that is why I believe Sinner will win this match. I'm not saying that Sinner will just steamroll Zverev, or just will give him the hammer, or will crush him. No, I'm not saying that. Zverev is too good of a player. But I think that Sinner will do a better job in the short rally lengths. I think because he has more firepower than Zverev. More firepower, at least with not with much maybe, but because Zverev can also hit the ball huge. He has more firepower than Zverev. He protects his second serve better than Zverev. He is better than Zverev in the short rally lengths. He is more aggressive than Zverev. Sinner is the player that I've never seen before. A player as Sinner is the player who hits the ball. I've never seen a player who hits the ball as huge as Sinner, and he does it with margins. I've seen Federer hit the ball huge. I've seen Dominic Thiem hit the ball huge. I've seen Berrettini, with his forehand at least, hit the ball huge. To mention some, I've seen Del Potro hit the ball huge, but they have done it with low percentage of shots. Sinner hits the ball huge with high percentage of shots. Sinner hits the ball huge with margins. And this is Only time I've ever seen that in my life. Nadal could also hit the ball huge, especially with his forehand, and he could do that with margins, absolutely, because he had that high topspin, that RPM on the ball. But he could not do that with his backhand. His backhand did not have as much topspin as his forehand had. So Nadal was not hitting the ball huge with his backhand, and he was not doing that with margins when he was hitting his backhand hard. Sinner, he hits the ball with both wings, both forehand and backhand, huge, and he does it with margins. And this is the only time I forgot to mention Alcaraz. He has firepower. He's a powerhouse. He's a powerhouse. I mean, he's a horsepower. He's a really horsepower Alcaraz when it comes to hitting the ball hard. But him as well, like Federer, like Thiem, like Del Potro, when Alcaraz hits the ball huge, he does it with low percentage of shots. Alcaraz cannot hit the ball huge with high percentage of shots. He cannot hit the ball huge with margins. And that is the difference between Sinner and all the other players. He can hit the ball huge and he can do it with margins. He can hurt you from all sides of the court. He can hurt you from the backhand side when he goes in those corners and can pass you. He can hurt you with his forehand down the line, cross court. He can hurt you with his backhand down the line, cross court. He can hurt you in the long rallies over 9 shots. He can do that. He can play from a baseline. He's not afraid in going toe to toe with his opponents. He can hurt you with his returns. He has unbelievable returns. According to me, the best returner in the world at the current moment is Jannik Sinner, especially on hard courts. So he just have more weapons in his repertoire. The only 2 things that I believe that Zverev has better than Sinner, he has a better serve than Sinner. At least the better first serve. Not particularly better second serve. So he has better serve than Sinner. So Zverev maybe will win the serve ace. He probably will do more aces than Sinner. But that doesn't mean he will win the match. And the other thing that Zverev has better than Sinner is his physicality. His stamina is better than Sinner's, I believe. That is maybe the only 2 things that Zverev has better than Sinner. The backhand maybe also is better because Zverev has the best backhand in the world. At least one of the best backhands in the world. But Sinner doesn't have a weak backhand. Sinner is not afraid in going back to backhand cross court with Zverev. I don't think he's afraid. He will go cross court with Zverev, backhand to backhand in long exchanges, and then he will change it and hit it down the line. So, but all the other aspects, returns, firepower, protecting second serve, speed. Sinner is also faster than Zverev. Sinner is not as fast as Alcaraz, who is nobody, but he is at least faster than Zverev. And I believe that he will win more points when his second serve. He will protect his second serve better than what Zverev will do. And that, in the end, I believe he will win the final. But I don't think it will be easy. I truly don't think it will be easy. I believe Sinner will win this Australian Open final 2025 in 4 sets. That is my prediction. But I truly hope I'm wrong, because you don't know one thing about me, guys. I'm not obsessed in having my prediction right. I really am not. I sometimes feel really for a player. I'm a guy who have a big heart. I believe Sinner will win the final. I'm not sure, of course. Absolutely not. Because Zverev is a tough matchup for Sinner. And we have seen that in the past. So I'm not sure. So I believe that Sinner will execute all these things that I said in the video better than Zverev. So I think Sinner will win the match in the 4 sets. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope Zverev finally wins his first ever Grand Slam final in his 3rd attempt, because he has lost 2 Grand Slam finals and has been heartbroken, and both of those 2 has been in 5 sets. And the first one he lost against Dominic Thiem back in 2020. He was 2 points away in winning that US Open final back in 2020. So I would love to see Alexander Sasha Zverev win his first ever major. Because I believe he has won 9 big titles in his career. 6 Masters, I believe, 2 ATP Tour finals, which makes it to 8. and won Olympic gold. He has won 9 big titles in his career, but he has never won a Grand Slam title. And it is not becoming easier for him. He's not getting younger. He's 27 years old. The first one, like I said, he lost against Dominic Thiem, which was he was only 2 points away winning. The second one, he lost against Alcaraz, also in the 5 sets. And now he's playing another unbelievable, super talented player, Jannik Sinner, who is the best hardcourt player in the world at the current moment, and also is the world #1, and also is the defending champion here at Australian Open. So it is not becoming easier for him, but it is never easy winning Grand Slam titles, and it for sure will not be for Zverev as well. So I hope Zverev proves me wrong and wins this final, because I will cheer for him, to be quite honest, even though I believe that Sinner will do it. Zverev is not only playing for himself, of course he's playing mostly for himself, he's playing also for the entire 90 born players. Because we know that the 90 born players has won only 2 Grand Slam titles. Dominic Thiem won and Jannik Sinner won. And Zverev is trying to prove to everybody, and especially for me, who have said that the 90 born players are weak, to try to win 1 Grand Slam title and make it to 3 Grand Slam titles that the 90 born players have won against a player who is born in the 2000s, where the 2000 players has already won 6 majors together. Alcaraz 4 and Sinner 2. If Sinner wins this one, then they have 7 majors together. So, there we have the preview, guys. I believe that Jannik Sinner will win this Australian Open final in 4 sets and win his 3rd Grand Slam title and win his 2nd consecutive Australian Open title. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Sasha Zverev proves me wrong. I really would love to see Zverev win finally his 1st ever Grand Slam title, because if he doesn't win his first, if he never wins the Grand Slam title, Alexander Zverev, he will go down as the greatest tennis player of all time to never win a Grand Slam title. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace.